The video begins with a convoy of Russian military equipment consisting of tanks, armored vehicles, and trucks attempting to break through Ukrainian defenses on the Donetsk front line. They divided into several groups and tried to advance from different directions. However, the journey was not easy. They had to face Ukrainian mines placed there and accurate, long-range fire. As a result of the explosions, Russia suffered losses of nearly 10 pieces of its equipment destroyed. And this greatly disrupts Russia's attack plans against Ukrainian positions. Cases like this often cause Russian troops to panic, which leads to poor decision-making. The Russian vehicle caught fire and exploded before reaching its destination. Then, panicked Russian soldiers were seen running in disarray and climbing into another assault vehicle that had no armor at all. What was once a civilian vehicle was now forced into battlefields. However, Ukrainian drone operators had been monitoring it and immediately sent a kamikaze drone towards it. In a short time, the vehicle was immediately destroyed. Only one of the 6 people in the vehicle survived. Ukraine's main intelligence directorate, or GUR, has released footage showing the destruction of a Russian assault group during one of its largest recent offensives in the Zaporozhye sector. The video, shared by the Artan Active Operations Unit via Telegram, is captioned, "For the first time, we show epic footage of the destruction of a Russian assault group deployed by the invaders to attempt to break through the Zaporozhye sector." The footage captures key moments of the defeated Russian attack, Ukrainian aerial reconnaissance, and artillery targeting Russian forces, followed by several explosions and plumes of smoke. Russia attempted a large-scale attack on the positions of the Ukrainian defense and security forces shortly before the Easter holidays, specifically in the area of responsibility of the Artan Active Operations Unit of the GUR of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. More than 300 personnel, 40 armored combat vehicles, 3 tanks, and about a dozen trains were involved, advancing in 6 columns. The post reads, "We were aware of the Russian plan in advance. We noted the accumulation of equipment and personnel. At the same time, the Russians were clearing their own minefields to allow the equipment to pass. We waited for them and engaged them accordingly," said Artan's commander, Titan. As soon as the enemy column moved, the Artan Syndicate FPV operators and Artan gunners went to work. The first 3 BMPs were burned 8 kilometers before the line of contact, Artan wrote in his commentary on the video. The rest of the convoy was also destroyed as it approached our positions. Some hit by accurate FPV and artillery strikes. Some destroyed by minefields laid by our technicians, added Artan's commander, Titan. Thanks to the professional work of Artan, along with other units of the Ukrainian Defense and Security Forces, the attack was successfully thwarted. Ukrainian forces destroyed or disabled 15 pieces of military equipment and approximately 100 personnel. We are always prepared for any developments in the situation. We know what the enemy is capable of, in particular, their active use of prohibited chemical weapons against our fighters. We see how, taking advantage of the so-called Easter truce, the invaders continue to gather strength, strengthen their positions, and prepare for a new offensive. This scenario is not new, and the end for the invaders will also be traditional and natural. Destruction, containment, or flight, concluded the commander of Artan. The main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, or GUR, also known in English as Defense Intelligence of Ukraine, or DIU, is the military intelligence service of the Ukrainian government. GUR is an agency of the Ministry of Defense, not the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. This agency was formed from intelligence assets existing in the Kyiv, Odessa, and Carpathian military districts of the Soviet Armed Forces, and the main intelligence directorate, or GRU, after the dissolution of the Soviet Union and the independence of Ukraine. Soldiers from the 128th Transcarpathian Separate Mountain Assault Brigade, operating in the Zaporizhia sector, also shared details of the attack in the region. According to the brigade, it was the largest attack they had witnessed in a long time. Fighters said Russian forces advanced in several columns simultaneously, and from different directions. The brigade's deputy commander of the Unmanned Systems Battalion, known by the call sign Hands, said, "Several columns moved simultaneously. They stopped in time thanks to the joint and coordinated actions of the Ukrainian defense forces operating in the Zaporizhia sector." He added that artillery units, drone operators, and other frontline troops all worked perfectly. Aerial footage of the clash was published online, showing several explosions and shooting, although we could not independently verify the time and location. Sergeant Stanislav Bunyatov called it one of the largest attacks and mocked the failed attempt. Ukrainian Operation HUR also detailed the operation that halted the Russian advance near Kharkiv. The GUR Special Forces advanced, gradually slicing Russian-occupied territory into small, salami-like segments. A Kraken fighter explained that each offensive and clearing operation in a given area takes 3 to 4 days. Additional time is needed for preparation, including bringing in reinforcements, organizing logistics, and identifying new targets. Reconnaissance assesses the resources needed to repel the enemy, which then proceeds with the next attack. The soldiers emphasized the difficult combat conditions, which required high concentration and professionalism, as the Russian forces were far superior in numbers. The success of the operation was due to the skill, coordination, and modern equipment of the Ukrainian fighters. President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Ukraine's operation in Russia's Kursk Oblast had halted Russia's advance toward Kharkiv and slowed their advance into Donetsk Oblast.